Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Rhodes, go ahead and sit it now, please. Here's the podium.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you. I'm so sorry for your name.
Same number.
Ms. Beasley, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, this is in cause number CR 19280, State of Texas versus Brandy Dawn Rhodes. And we were set for a motion to revoke hearing today. And it's come to the court's attention that there's been an agreement between the defendant and the state regarding the amendment to the conditions of her community supervision. And as a result, the state has indicated to the court and has already provided the motion to withdraw the motion to revoke. The purpose of this hearing is for the court to assure that itself that Brandy Rhodes understands that the amendment to the conditions of her community supervision is going to include the additional financial payment that has to be made to Ms. Beasley as court-appointed counsel, and that that amount will be placed into your conditions of community supervision. Do you understand that, Ms. Rhodes?
Absolutely, sir, yes.
So you understand that if you do not reimburse Van Zandt County for the amount that she has charged, then you can be booked from your community supervision. You do understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. All right. Then the court has already signed the motion to withdraw the motion to revoke, and has also signed the amendment to your conditions of community supervision. Once you are released, I want you to contact or report to the probation department immediately for additional instructions on how to begin getting back in compliance with your probation. You understand?
Absolutely. So I go straight to the probation office and I sign in on the computer.
That or if Ms. Burns is out there, you can speak with her. She may have other directions for you.
Absolutely, sir, I'll
Thank you, Ms. Beasley.
Thank you. There is one other condition of this plea deal, and that is that her back time credit, I believe it's 85 days, is taken as a condition of probation, so she'll no longer have that available should she get in trouble in the future.
Can you repeat that just so my court reporter can get that? And I think I understood what you said, but I want you to repeat it.
Yes, sir. Another condition of this arrangement, this plea arrangement, is that as a condition of probation, the state is using her 85 days back time credit that she has as of today as condition of probation, so it will no longer be available for her if she were to get in trouble in the future.
That's my understanding as well. Do you understand that, Ms. Rhodes, that the 85 days that you served in jail is going to be ordered to be served as a part of your community supervision, which you're going to get credit for, which means that you can't get credit twice. If you're subsequently revoked on this case and sent to jail or to prison, then you would not get credit for those 85 days that you have served. You're getting credit for it now rather than later. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. Now I'm comprehending. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Then that'll conclude this matter.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I have excuse?
Yes.
Hang on, Ms. Rhodes. You're still on the record. Hang on, Ms. Rhodes. Thank you, Ms. Rhodes.
Do we have anyone else that's available?
No, Your Honor, not yet.
Okay.
Deputy McLeish, is Haley Dunn out there at the jail?
Not yet, ma'am.
Okay, if you would just let her know when she gets there, that I have emailed the plea paperwork to her for Mr. Garcia, just to make sure she got it. And if I need to send it to the jail, just let me know.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hey, Ms. Thompson, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right if I could get my head on straight.
We ready, bailiff?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and who are we ready on, Ms. Thompson?
I'm ready on David, Ehrlich. He's a bond reduction hearing, Your Honor.
All right, this is writ number WR 20-53, State of Texas versus David, is it Erlin?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Erlin, if you will, raise your right hand. I'm going to place you under oath. Mr. Erlin, do you swear that the testimony you give to the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead, Ms. Thompson.
Mr. Ehrlich, you understand what your charges are?
Yes, sir.
And can you tell the court what your charges are?
First one's theft. I'm not sure what's over or under a certain amount. And the other one is bringing drugs to the facility.
Okay. Does the theft 2,500 to 30,000 sound right? Okay. And you understand, what are your bonds currently on those?
I have no idea.
Okay. Would it sound right if the theft was 50,000 and the prohibited substance in the correctional facility is 10,000? Okay. You currently have a parole hold on you, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You and I have discussed the filing of this writ today, and I've explained to you that if we look forward with this, and should the court choose to reduce your bond, that it would stop your time credit. Do you understand that on these charges? And you said in spite of that, you wanted me to go ahead and file the writ. Is that correct?
Pure one.
Okay. Do you have a job outside?
Yes.
What do you do?
Repo.
Repo?
Hey, Ms. Thompson, he's going to have to speak up or I'm not going to be able to hear him.
Okay. Okay. You work for a repo company?
Yes.
And what company is that?
Texas Collateral Adjusters.
And how long have you worked for them?
Before I got locked up, about a month.
Okay. And how much do you get paid?
10 an hour and 75 a car.
5 a car. Okay. And do you work full time, part time?
That's full time.
Okay. And if you were released, I'm sorry.
I don't know if I still have that job. I'm
Okay.
not sure yet.
Okay. So you don't know that you have a job.
Mhm.
All right. If you were to get a bond reduction and somehow get your parole hold lifted, where would you be living at?
I have 2 addresses.
Tell the court which physical address you would be living at.
The first one's in Lake Tawakoni, but I don't know the address. I have it in the tank. But the second one is 6700 Ports O'Call,
And
and it's Rowlett, Texas 75088.
And you're asking the court here today to consider for you for a PR bond, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And why do you think you need a PR bond?
I requested PR bond because I wanted to be able to get parole moving on the ball. I have a 8-month-old son out there, and I know he needs me. And hopefully I still have my job. And I want to be able to get reinstated for parole and ask for an ankle monitor so that I can get back out there and be a father.
Have you been paying child support?
No, I'm not on the birth certificate.
Do you have any bank accounts, bonds, or jewelry, or anything that you could cash in to try to help with this bond?
No.
Do you have a vehicle that you own that you could sell or put up for a loan? Pass the witness, Sean.
And Ms. Thompson, tell me again what his bail amounts are for the theft.
50,000 on the theft, 10,000 on the prohibited substance, Sean.
Thank you. Ms. Heisel, any questions?
Just briefly, Your Honor. Mr. Erlin, is that how you say it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Erlin, you mentioned 2 different addresses. What's the reason for the multiple addresses?
One for the mother of my child. That's where I was first paroled to.
Okay.
That would be the second address, but the first address is in Lake Tawakoni. I'm not sure if the address, because it's trailer, it's a mobile home trailer. And I don't know if that's good or not.
Okay, so I guess what I'm really getting at is, do you have a nailed down place for you to go if the judge were to grant the writ today? Or
Yes.
are you still working those details out?
The Rowlett address.
Rowlett address, okay. And do you have transportation to and from court from that Rowlett address?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, who would that be?
That'd be my mom, dad, cousin, aunt, grandma.
Okay, so you have a lot of family support.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Erland, have you talked to any bonding companies about these charges?
No, I haven't. 'Cause I don't have no money, no nothing.
Okay, so you haven't even contacted them to see what you would need to have to get out?
Yes. I mean, just from my knowledge from the past, I figured for the 50,000, it'd be 5,000. And for the 10, it'd be 1,000.
Okay. Mr. Erland, what charge are you on parole for?
Controlled substance.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd pass the witness.
Your Honor, I don't have any further questions.
How long has Mr. Erland?
Judge, I show 74 days today is what I show.
And Ms. Heisel, do we have scheduling for grand jury on either one of these cases?
Your Honor, the state has not received either one of these cases from the arresting agency. It looks like that would have been the sheriff's office. So we will get with them. I actually did not have this on my docket for today, so I didn't get with them ahead of time to see when we could be expecting those cases. However, we would ask that you push the writ out to a hearing at the 90-day mark.
Well, that's not, that this is for bonding.
And Mr. Erland, do you have any assets? Do you own any vehicles or any real estate, anything that you could sell to post bond?
No, sir.
You have a bank account?
No, sir.
How are you getting to and from work before you were arrested?
They were letting me use a repo truck, take it home.
So you're a licensed driver?
Yeah, I had my TDLR. Man, I hope I still have the job. I'm not sure, Your Honor.
Say that again?
I'm hoping I still have the job. I'm not sure.
I understand. All right, based on evidence before the court is going to grant the request for a personal bond in each case. Court's going to set a personal bond of $50,000 for the theft, $2,500 to $30,000. Court will set a $10,000 personal bond for the possession of controlled substance in correctional facility, prohibited substance. And Mr. Erland, you understand that if the Texas pardon and paroles not lift theirs, you understand that you will remain in custody. And as Ms. Thompson said to you before, you will not be getting any credit, any sentence that may subsequently occur for these cases.
Yes, Your Honor.
Understand that?
Will y'all notify parole and let them know that this happened and they can hopefully have my hearing or come see me?
I'm sure that the Van Zandt County jail staff will notify pardons and parole that they are available to come and pick you up when they want. Okay? And they may do that, they may not do that.
Yes, sir.
Thompson can assist you in making that notification as well. So the court, having granted those personal bonds and those amounts, will sign the order that I have here with me, Ms. Thompson.
Yes, sir, thank you.
And I'll have that forwarded over to the sheriff's office.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
And Ms. Thompson, I have Mr. Booker's paperwork here with me. I just signed it. I will scan it and email it to the jail staff over there. So I'll email it to Terry Gillespie so that you guys can get that and go over that paperwork.
Well, I had sent Tyler Woodard some questions about seeking deferred instead of straight probation. Never got a response on it, so I don't know what the paperwork is saying.
Okay, Ms. Thompson, if you could just step out and call our office, I can answer those questions off the record.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thanks.
Got to make an excuse for a few minutes.
Ms. Thompson, I'm looking at your order that you sent over, and it's only for the theft of property. Did you file a separate order for the, here's the theft of property? Did you send a separate order?
I thought that I did, Your Honor, because they don't like to, in the district clerk's office, they don't like to take orders with two case numbers on it.
Did you file two separate writs?
I think so.
You think so? Okay, I will look then.
Okay, if not, Your Honor, I'll be happy to send over an order.
No, if not, I'll just hand write it in. I just wanted to make sure.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. Maybe excuse for a few minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
Making fun like an obstacle course over all those chairs. Judge Martin,
Yes.
she is ready on up, Mr. Booker now, sir.
All right, court call CR 20-104105, State versus Christopher Booker. And we are set for arraignment today. Ms. Thompson, are you ready for arraignment?
Yes, sir, we all ready for arraignment.
Go ahead.
We have received copies of the indictment, Your Honor. He understands what he's charged with. For purposes of arraignment, we waive the reading of the formal indictment and pleads not guilty.
All right, the court will enter Mr. Booker's plea of not guilty into the record on each cause. Court will set this matter for pretrial hearing. Are you available on October 20th, Ms. Thompson?
We also have plea papers. We're ready to plea out right now.
Oh, we're doing a plea today too?
Yes, sir.
All right, no one let me know that. All right, so I'm gonna need to know the terms of the plea, including court cost, fine, reimbursement, days in jail, credit. I'll need everything beginning with the charge.
I guess Ms. Heisel's going to provide that information for you. So see her looking at it.
No problem, Judge. Your Honor, upon a plea of guilty in cause number CR 20-105, the state is going to agree to recommend punishment be assessed at 5 years confinement in TDC, probated for a period of 5 years with a $3,500 fine. The state is going to agree to take cause number CR 20-104 into consideration under section 1245 of the Texas Penal Code. There's going to be $290 in court costs, $985 in reimbursement fees, no restitution. And Judge, I do not currently show any credit for Mr. Booker. However, I do believe he has 24 days credit. So Ms. Thompson, if you will just amend the front of the judgment to reflect 24 days credit.
And that's going to be on the indicted third-degree felony, possession of controlled substance PG3, 28 grams, 200 grams.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Booker, if you will, raise your right hand. I'm going to place you under oath. Mr. Booker, do you swear that the testimony you give to the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
Yes, sir.
Make sure you speak up loudly and clearly, okay? Mr. Booker, are you a United States citizen?
Yes, sir.
Do you read, write, and speak English?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been diagnosed with any type of mental condition?
No, sir.
In this case, you're represented by your attorney, Ms. Ann Thompson. Are you pleased with her representation of you?
Yes, sir, I am.
Do you feel like you've had sufficient time to talk to her about your case and have all of your legal questions answered?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Thompson, is Mr. Booker competent today?
He is competent, Your Honor.
And you've explained to him the nature and consequences of his plea before the court today?
I have, Your Honor.
And each one of you have heard Ms. Heisel recite the terms of the plea agreement. Is that both of your understandings as to the terms?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, Mr. Booker, you've been indicted with the third-degree felony offense of possession of a controlled substance in penalty group 3, 28 grams to 200 grams. And that offense carries a range of punishment of not less than 2 years nor more than 10 years confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and a fine not to exceed $10,000. Do you understand that even though the court may approve your plea agreement today and place you on community supervision, if you're ever revoked and sentenced by this court, the court would have to set your punishment somewhere within that range of 2 to 10. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Now, I see that the plea agreement is for you to plead guilty in exchange for a predetermined sentence of 5 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. What that means that if you violate your conditions of community supervision, the court could assess your punishment anywhere from 2 years to 5 years.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Mr. Booker, to that charge, how do you plead?
I plead guilty.
And sir, are you pleading guilty because in fact you are guilty for no other reason?
Yes, sir, I am.
Has anyone threatened you, forced you, or pressured you to plead guilty?
No, sir.
All right, the court will accept Mr. Booker's plea of guilt at this time. Ms. Thompson, is there any objection to the admission of States 1?
Done, Your Honor.
States 1 is admitted into evidence and the court takes judicial notice of Mr. Booker's judicial confession. Is there anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Anything further from the defense?
No, sir.
And Ms. Heisel, if you will give me a brief summation.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Booker was pulled over by Wills Point PD, who was aware that he had a warrant out. They served the warrant on him and detained him. When they approached his vehicle and removed him from the vehicle to detain him on that warrant, they observed in plain view a baggie containing methamphetamine. They then placed him in custody on the warrant and conducted a probable cause search of the vehicle, which also discovered a baggie containing Xanax, which is the PG3 for which Mr. Booker is pleading guilty. We don't have, it doesn't appear that the lab report made it into State's Exhibit 1, but just for the court's information and for Mr. Booker's information, we did get a lab back from the DPS lab confirming that that was Xanax or alprazolam.
All right, Ms. Thompson, extend to that summation.
Yes, sir, that's fine.
Okay. All right, then based on the evidence before the court, let me ask you before I do that, Mr. Booker, you signed some paperwork with your attorney today, is that correct?
Yes, sir, I did.
And when you signed, did you sign that certifying to the court that that is your true and correct signature and that you understand everything that you read and signed?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. Then based on the evidence before the court will find that there is sufficient evidence to convict you of this offense. The court will follow the plea agreement in this case. Court hereby convicts you of the third-degree felony offense of possession of a controlled substance in penalty group 3, 28 grams to 200 grams. The court assesses your sentence at 5 years confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Institutional Division. The court will suspend that sentence, place you on community supervision for a period of 5 years. The court assesses a $3,500 fine, $290 court costs, and $985 reimbursement fees. The court hereby dismisses cause number CR 20-104 under section 1245 of the Texas Penal Code. Court awards you 24 days credit towards any sentence that may be imposed in this case for time that has already been served in this case. Mr. Booker, you are hereby remanded to the custody of the Van Zandt County Community Supervision and Corrections Department so they can carry out the terms and conditions of your sentence. Ms. Thompson, I would just ask that you make sure that Mr. Booker has signed in all required places in the written admonishments, the state's, the trial court's certificate of appeal, the state's Michael Morton notice. Make sure that his signature is where it needs to be before the paperwork is transmitted back to the court.
Yeah, we'll go back over it again one more time.
All right, and Mr. Booker, if you'll accompany my bailiff, she's going to get a fingerprint on my judgment, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, sir.
No, that's all I had, baby. Excuse.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's just quickly make sure the signature was filled out. They all, but I make sure.
Judge, I just received the paperwork from Ms. Dunn. I need to get a few more signatures on it, and then I will email it to the jail for the deputy to receive it
Okay.
right now. Thank you.
Anything else, bailiff, right now?
No, sir.
Okay. Bailiff, are you ready? Let's bring Mr. Tabby up. And we'll need to unmute, Bailiff.
Sorry about that, Judge.
Okay. Sir, are you Corey Thomas Tabby?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Tabby, your court-appointed counsel is Mr. Casey Ashmore, and he is detained in another court today. However, there's another attorney with his firm that's here to represent you during this arraignment, and you can see her on the screen here. Her name is Haley. Can you see her? Hi, and Haley, what's your last name?
Dunn, D-U-N-N.
Okay. And we are set for arraignment today. So Mr. Tabby, I'm going to show you your indictment here in cause number CR 2229, wherein the grand jury has returned a true bill of indictment for the second-degree felony offense of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. A second-degree felony in the state of Texas carries a range of punishment of not less than 2 years or more than 20 years confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and a fine not to exceed not to exceed $10,000. Mr. Tabby, is your name spelled correctly here?
You need to step closer.
Yes, it's spelled right.
Now, is it also spelled correctly here in the body of the document?
Yes, sir.
All right, and the state has alleged that you intentionally, knowingly, and recklessly caused bodily injury to Michael Rice by stabbing him with a knife, and that during that alleged assault, you used or exhibited a deadly weapon, specifically a knife. Do you understand the allegations that have been brought against you?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Dunn, how does your client plead at this time?
My client pleads not guilty at this time.
All right, the court enters Mr. Tabby's plea of not guilty into the record, and we will set pretrial for Mr. Tabby. Make sure that I don't double book Mr. Ashmore. We'll set Mr. Tabby then for pretrial on October 20th at 1:30. If Mr. Tabby is in jail, it will be at 9 a.m. if Mr. Tabby is on bail. So Mr. Tabby, we're going to have you sign that notice form that the bailiff has for you. And we'll give you a copy of that. And Mr. Ashmore knows now that your pretrial hearing is set on October 20th, and we'll see you back on that date. All right, so we're concluded in your hearing.
Mr. Tabby, you'll go on
Thank
50.
you, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Dunn, this is what I propose. Mr. Garcia looks to be the last one on my docket. So what I can do is I can put you and he in a private room, which would be there in the jail. Now, obviously, you know, the expectation of privacy is going to be seriously diminished, but you're just going to be discussing with him the plea papers and the waiver of his rights and the consequences and nature of his plea. So I will put you into a private room so that it's not being broadcast and that myself and the state are not involved in that. Okay. But keep in mind though, it will be the bailiff and anyone else who's in the jail courtroom. And bailiff, is there anyone else there besides you and Mr. Garcia?
Miss Karen Burns is, but she
Okay.
said she'll step out.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move you into that waiting room. And then whenever you should be able to exit and come back. That way I'll know that you're ready. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Take just a moment and I will get you set up. So bear with me just a second.
Mr. Garcia, I'm gonna let you just have a seat. You leaving,
Yes, yes, okay. That's where, he'll just need a copy of that judgment.
Okay. I can take care of that.
All right, you should be automatically directed to the breakout rooms now. If you are not, then you may have to select that option. All right, they should be gone, so we'll wait till they return, Ms. Heisel. Hey, Ms. Heisel, this would be a great opportunity for us to have electronic signatures, don't you think?
I agree.
Don't you think it would be awesome if we had that? We're gonna,
It would be. What's the process for getting that?
the process for it is just paying for the subscription and doing it. So, I mean, we're still in our beta testing process, but I think we're about to move to it.
Well, I don't get a vote, but if I did, I'd vote yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about how easy it would be. Like right now in this instance, we could email it to everyone out to the jail. They could see it and go through it in real time and do it. So anyway, the future's coming.
Sounds good.
Brace yourself. Okay, are we ready to proceed on Mr. Garcia?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Heisel, can you tell me what the terms are of the plea agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Garcia was originally charged with assault against a family member by impeding the breath, third-degree felony. We have a plea agreement to reduce to the lesser included assault causes bodily injury, family violence, with punishment be assessed at 1 year confinement in Van Zandt County Jail, credit given for time served, and a fine of $250. There's also $270 in court costs and $70 in reimbursement fees, and then 365 days jail credit for Mr. Garcia.
Did you say $70 reimbursement fee?
Yes, that is what the judgment shows, Judge.
And Mr. Ashmore, is he appointed or retained in this case?
I believe him to be appointed in this case.
Judge, I do see that there is a blank on the judgment for court-appointed reimbursement. So it appears we did not have Mr. Ashmore's attorney's fees. So the reimbursement will be $70 plus whatever his fee is.
And I don't have a motion to pay with me. It's going to be the amount for a third-degree felony.
Judge, Ms. Abney said Casey Ashmore called her and said that it would be $750 for this cause.
All right, so that would make reimbursement fees $820.
And Deputy McLeish, if you could adjust that on the face of the judgment. And then on page 3 of the judgment, there is a blank that Ms. Abney left for that $750 as well.
Okay, walk me through this, Ms. Heisel, on page 1 by reimbursement fees, is that where I document that?
Yes, Your Honor. Or sorry, yes.
And you said 750,
820.
820?
Yeah.
And then on page 3,
There's just a blank there. And that should say 750 in that blank.
It should be directly attributable to the reimbursement fees for the attorney fees. 750. And while you have that document in your hand, will you look on page 2 and tell me what the fine breakdown appears to be? Is there a family violence fee?
I have a general fine checked, and that's the only one that's checked, Judge.
Okay. I know there were some questions last meeting by the clerk's office about the totaling of our fines and that they're not matching. The front page is not matching the second page when there's a general fine, plus if there's a EMS or any other type of crime-specific fine. So we'll need to pay attention to that to make sure that they're equaling the right amount. So, all right, Mr. Garcia, if you will, raise your right hand, sir. I'm going to place you under oath. Mr. Garcia, do you swear that the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Garcia, are you a United States citizen?
Yes, sir.
And do you read, write, and speak English?
Yes, sir.
And have you ever been diagnosed with any type of condition?
No, sir.
In this case, you have been represented by your attorney, Mr. Casey Ashmore. Have you been pleased with his representation of you?
Yes.
And do you feel like you've had sufficient time to discuss your case with him and have all your legal questions answered?
Yes, sir.
And today, Ms. Haley Dunn has stood in for Mr. Ashmore to represent you throughout this plea. Are you also pleased with her representation of you?
Yes, sir.
You feel like you understood everything that was explained to you regarding your legal and constitutional rights?
Yes.
And Ms. Dunn, have you explained to Mr. Garcia the consequences of his plea agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you've also explained to him his legal and constitutional rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and you believe him to be competent today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Garcia, you are charged, or you have been charged by the Van Zandt County Grand Jury with a third-degree felony offense of assault of a family or household member by impeding breath or circulation. However, the reduced charge that's being proposed by the state is that of a Class A misdemeanor of assault causes bodily injury with family violence. The range of punishment for a Class A misdemeanor assault family violence is confinement in the county jail up to 365 days maximum and a fine not to exceed $4,000. Any agreement that you reach with the state or any sentence that is handed down by this court must fit within that range. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Garcia, then to the Class A misdemeanor offense of assault causes bodily injury, family violence. How do you plead?
I plead guilty, sir.
And do you plead guilty to that charge because you are guilty of that charge?
Yes.
Has anyone threatened you, forced you, or pressured you to plead guilty today?
No, sir.
All right, the court will accept Mr. Garcia's plea of guilt to the reduced charge. Ms. Dunn, is there any objection to states 1, the stipulation of evidence?
No, Your Honor, no objection.
All right, the court admits states exhibit 1 and takes judicial notice of Mr. Garcia's judicial confession. Is there anything further from the state,
No, Your Honor.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Heisel, if you will, give me a brief summation of the facts of this case.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Garcia and his girlfriend, April Silva, were in an argument because she believed that Mr. Garcia was taking items that were not his. In the course of their argument, she alleges that Mr. Garcia placed his hands on her throat and started choking her, and she could not breathe at that point. She also alleges that during that argument and physical altercation, Mr. Garcia punched her multiple times. And so that is the basis of the assault family violence and impeding charges against Mr. Garcia.
Ms. Dunn, any objection to that summation?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, then based on the evidence before the court will follow the plea agreement in this case. Court finds that there is sufficient evidence to convict Mr. Garcia of the, and does convict Mr. Garcia of the Class A misdemeanor offense of assault causes bodily injury, family violence. The court assesses his punishment at 1 year confinement in the Van Zandt County Jail. The court awards Mr. Garcia credit for 365 days of time already served toward that sentence. The court assesses a $250 fine, $270 court cost, $820 reimbursement fee to Van Zandt County. Mr. Garcia, you're hereby remanded to the custody of the Van Zandt County Sheriff so he can carry out the terms and conditions of your sentence. Before I have you fingerprinted with a bailiff, once you are released, if you are not able to pay your fines and court costs and reimbursement fees at once, I'm going to order you to report to the Van Zandt County Courthouse on the 3rd floor and speak with Miss Bonnie LaPrade, the court compliance officer, so she can make arrangements for you to make a payment plan so you can discharge what you owe. Your failure to pay what you owe will result in this court issuing a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. Bailiff, if you can take him at this time and get that fingerprint. Ms. Dunn, thank you for being available today and assisting us with doing this. I know that Mr. Ashmore was busy in another court, so I appreciate you being able to help us get Mr. Garcia pled out and to have that arraignment on Mr. Tabby.
Absolutely, and thank you so much, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Maybe
All right.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Martin, Mr. Martin, Judge Martin?
Yes, sir.
No, I just wanted to, we did some work up there for you. We took apart your desk and moved all your stuff out of your office.
Well, I appreciate that.
I just wanted to thank you guys for allowing me to come up there and work for you and do that. It was a pleasure of mine. And hopefully your desk don't fall apart.
No, I think it's in better shape now than it was before because I put it together before. So I appreciate you guys doing that. Y'all did a good job, and I appreciate it. Looks a lot better in there. So thank you for your work on that.
Thank you. God bless you, sir.
Thank you. You too, sir.
Judge, I believe that's all the business we have. May we be excused?
You may, Ms. Heisel. Thank you.
Thanks, Judge.
Bye.